I work at a gas station in rural Pennsylvania. It's a boring job, but it's pretty easy and it pays all right. A few weeks ago, this new guy started. I'll call him Jeremy. Jeremy is weird. He's about 25 or 26, and he hardly speaks. But he's got the creepiest laugh that I've ever heard. My boss and I have both noticed this, but it's never been a problem. So there was not much we can do about it. Customers have complained about him, and he's always done his job fairly well, up until a few weeks ago. Anyway, that's when things started to go missing. Employee theft could be a problem at any business that sells customer goods. There is one person working at the time at the gas station. It's a pretty small place, and about 2 weeks ago, my boss started noticing that we were short on motor oil. At first, it was a few containers at a time, then the entire shelves and boxes from the back room. Pretty soon, the entire shipments will be going missing the day after we got them. It would always be right after Jeremy's shifts. My boss checked the security tapes from every single night he worked, but he could never catch him in the act. Jeremy would lock up at closing, then the motor oil would be gone the next day. My boss usually takes the tapes home with them to try and catch Jeremy stealing, but his daughter had a softball game last night, so he asked me to watch the tape for him. He offered to pay me overtime under the table, so obviously I took that offer. There are free cameras, so he gave me the 3 different tapes to check. I figured it would be a long night, but I'm gonna try and save up for a vacation, so I really needed the money. I took the tapes home, popped him into my old VCR, and sat back. 2 days ago, the last time he worked, Jeremy started at 4 p.m. Everything seemed pretty normal at first. He countered up on his drawer, switched off with the girl who was working before him, and waited for a customer. The first person came in was Miss Templeton. The timestamp on the video read 4:03. Regular, she picked up her cigarettes and a newspaper, and she paid with a 20. Nothing unusual there. The next customer was some local guy named Ron. He drives a motorcycle. He usually comes in every few days, filled up his gas tank, and got a bag of beef jerky, paid with his credit card, and then left. Next was just some crazy guy with a cowboy hat. I'd never seen him before, but we got plenty of strangers passing through, just like at any gas station. He got $40 worth of his diesel fuel, paid with a $100 bill, and then he went on his way. I sat back inside. The only thing more boring than doing this job is watching someone else do it. My boss's offer was enough to keep me watching, though, so I left the tape on. Everything seemed pretty normal. I had a feeling that if Jeremy was stealing motor oil, he knew we were suspicious of him by now. I didn't expect him to be dumb enough to let us catch him on camera. Things stayed boring in the routine until about 5 o'clock. At 5:03, Miss Templeton came back. She must have forgotten something, but she didn't. She bought back the same cigarettes as before and the same newspaper. She paid with another 20. That's odd, I thought, but then again, she's a little absent-minded. I thought Jeremy could have told her she already gotten her smokes, but it's not against the rules to sell somebody the same thing twice. That's when Ron came in. He bought another tank of gas for his motorcycle again. After I checked the outdoor camera, because I thought he might have had another car he wanted to fill up, and the same pack of beef jerky. He paid with his credit card again. No big deal. I figured that this was just some coincidence. Miss Templeton is very forgetful, and Ron probably owns more than one Harley. That's when the guy in the cowboy hat came in. I felt a chill run down my spine. Don't get diesel, don't get diesel. I found myself whimpering in the empty living room. But he did. He got $40 worth of diesel and paid with another $100 bill. Every move he made was identical to his first visit. Right down the way he scratched his nose as before he walked out. Either this guy is rich or owns a lot of trucks and just moved into town, or something really bizarre was happening. I just kept watching. Every customer for the next hour was the same as before. Every single one. I was seriously freaked out. And then at 6:03, Miss Templeton walked back in. She then brought her cigarettes and a newspaper again, and paid with a 20 again. I thought I was going to lose it. I only watched another half an hour before I started running fast towards Stowe for the rest. It was all the same. Every customer would come in at the exact same times, exactly 1 hour apart. I know what you're thinking. That sneaky bitch, Jeremy, had messed with those tapes. He had run a loop of the first hour of business over and over. That wasn't the case. There were windows all around the cash register that the camera covers, and I watched as the sunlight faded as time ran on. Jeremy's routine didn't loop over. He swept, mopped, restocked, and did all of his duties exactly how you would expect. But the same customers kept coming in. I was panicking at this point. Something was seriously wrong with what I was seeing, and I had no explanation for it. I skipped ahead to where he locked up and walked out to his car. He hadn't stolen anything, but I kept watching, just to make sure. I fast forward one last time, about to midnight. Exactly at 12:03, out of nowhere Jeremy's face pops onto the camera. I don't mean he moved his head to the view. I mean, that second store was empty, and the next his face was all I could see. He wasn't looking at the camera. He was looking at me. I was sure of it. I screamed and fumbled for the remote. By the time I grabbed it, he was gone. Just as soon as he left it, one frame was there. Then the next wasn't. My hands were shaking like crazy, but I popped in another tape. The other indoor camera shows the back area by the cash register, and I would be able to see how it got up from his face in the camera like that. I skipped ahead to 12:03, but there was nothing. I could have been able to see him standing on a chair or something on the tape, but he wasn't there. I didn't see him in the store at all after he left. It was like he wasn't really there. He doesn't know the security code, and no alarms were triggered that night after he locked up. What I did see, however, was at 12:03, the motor oil vanished from the shelf. All of it was the same as Jeremy's face. 1 second it was there, and then the next it wasn't. I turned off that tape and went to bed, but I didn't really get a wink of sleep. My body is exhausted right now, but my mind is racing. That tape was undoubtedly the creepiest, most disturbing thing I've ever seen in my life. I work in a few hours, and my boss asked me to bring the tapes back in and let him know what I found. But really, what the hell am I going to say? Jeremy works the night shifts tonight, directly after me, and the plan is for my boss to come in just before I leave and confront him with me. As I was supposed to be the one who got caught him stealing. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I suppose I'll have to show my boss the tapes, but I don't want to watch with him. I never want to see anything like that again. I can't get the image of Jeremy just smiling directly into the camera out of my mind. It was the creepiest look I've ever seen on another human being's face. Anyway, I'm gonna try again to get some last minute sleep before I have to go ahead and deal with this. I'll let the guy know what happens. Update, 2:49 p.m. Updating from my phone. Apologies in advance for errors. My boss just finished watching the last of the tapes. I told him what to expect, but you can't really prepare someone for something like that. He's scared shitless, and I still am too. And Jeremy is due to come at 4. We've got a little over an hour to get our shit together, but neither of us know what to say to him. Is he just a guy who likes to steal motor oil and scare the crap out of people? Or is it something else? I don't know if this is crazy, but does anyone think he could have something to do with the time loop? My boss said he never noticed anything like that in the other tapes, but the way he popped up in that one made me knew that I'd be watching. It's like he wanted to see what he can do, like he was showing off or something. The way he smiled at the camera was just like a little kid, showing you the sandcastle they just built or something. I don't know, I probably sound crazy. I sure feel the part. I'm gonna have to talk to my boss some more. We have to calm ourselves down and try to figure out how to handle this. I'll update again tonight, but I have a really bad feeling about how this is gonna play out. Update, 4:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update, 5:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We are calling the police. Update date 6:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. We tried calling him, but his phone was disconnected. We're calling the police. Update 7:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update 8:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update 10:58 p.m. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. I just got home and saw my previous updates. Things may seem less than sense now. Here's what I can tell you. I went to work and Jeremy never showed up. My boss decided to call the police, as you were aware. When I picked up the phone to call, I thought the sun went out, and I shit you not, that's what I thought happened. Apparently I blacked out after exactly 5 hours, because when I looked back at the clock it was 9:33. I think I got stuck in Jeremy's time loop, and then snapped out of it, an exact point I blacked out. If that makes sense, but what's the things got really weird. My boss was right next to me when I blacked out, ready to corroborate my story to the cops. When I came to, the phone was in my hand, but it was dead, not even a dial tone. My boss was right there, but he wasn't moving. He was standing up but frozen. Looked at the clock again and it still wasn't moving. The second the hand was stuck on the 12, it was 9:33 exactly. The clock on the register computer screen wasn't moving either. My phone was frozen. There was even a customer at the register waiting for my boss to give him cigarettes. I'm betting that it would have been his 50th pack of the day. I got the hell out of there. Didn't lock up and turn the lights out. And sorry guys, I didn't even grab the security tapes to upload on the internet. Believe me, that was the last thing on my mind. This gas station was on a major highway and cars were parked along it. Except they weren't parked. They were frozen. People were inside still as wax statues. I got in my car and prayed it would start, and it thankfully did. About halfway home, time started up again, and static from the radio turned into music, like it was supposed to be. And from what I could tell, listening to the host talking between songs, no one even noticed the time freeze or whatever it was. I was the only one. Well, I'm sure Jeremy noticed as well. I have no clue where he is or what he's doing. I'm hiding in my room and calling the police again in the morning. I don't know if I ever got through to them before. If I did, whatever, they took me seriously. I'm scared for my life at this point. I'll update tomorrow if I can. Final update, 10:33 a.m. I finally fell asleep last night around 4. I had no idea how I did it. I guess exhaustion finally got the best of me. This morning I woke up to my phone ringing. It was my boss. He'd been calling me since about 6. He woke up when time turned back to on last night and immediately called the cops. They came to see what was wrong and he told them everything. The police around here are the small-time guys. They were more concerned about when the motor oil going missing than anything. But my boss figured that he would take it, as long as they had their attention. They decided to go looking for Jeremy. We all kept our employees' applications on file, and since Jeremy started working here, his was easy to find. They checked the address on it and headed over to his house. You're not going to believe what they found. The address Jeremy listed on his application was an empty lot, or at least how it was. There used to be a house there, but it burned down in 1993. Being a small town, almost everyone remembers that fire. A family of 4 used to live there back then. Rumor has it that they'd been an estranged son who they never really talked about, but I couldn't really say if that's true for sure. What I can say for true is that after an insurance investigation, the fire was ruled an arson. The entire house was soaked in oil and torched with a Molotov cocktail. The entire family was sleeping when it happened. None of them survived. They never caught the guy who did it. Rumor has it that they tried to contact the estranged son, and no one could find him. Anyway, my boss told me this, and I freaked out when he asked me to come to the gas station. "What are you, crazy?" I said, but he assured me that the cops were there with them. He dropped a bomb, The FBI were also in town, and they were going to talk to me one way or another. I might as well come in. It was about 7:15, and I wanted to go back to bed, but I figured I wouldn't be able to sleep much more anyway. So I went down. 4 men in suits greeted me as they told me to have a seat. We went over everything for 2 or 3 times until they finally got all the details down. I told them about Jeremy, the security tape, last night at work, everything. Finally, after I finished, one of the agents said, "Oh Christ, we've got another one on our hands." And then they made us sign a bunch of papers saying I wouldn't tell anyone about what happened. So I can't say much more. I might be breaking the law just by posting this. So now that I'm home, I'm not sure what to do with myself. That agent's words when I told him the story are going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Anyway, I gotta go. I have some errands to run today, and then I have to go to work and pick up some tapes. My boss and I think this new Jeremy, he's a complete creep, is stealing motor oil, and I have watched the security footage to see if I can catch him doing it. I have better things to do, but my boss is paying me overtime under the table, and I'm trying to save up for a vacation, so I could really use the money. It should be pretty simple. The oil always goes missing right after his shifts. I figure I'll just watch the tapes, catch him in the act, and that will be that. Okay, well, my pretties, that was the strangest security tape I've ever seen. A creepypasta written by PowerHawkMash. Well, not Smash, Mash. My final thoughts on this story. I remember hearing about this pasta a long time ago, and I almost forgot about this pasta, surprisingly, because when I actually remember this story, I honestly kind of remember, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. I actually remembered, this story from, Mr. Creepypasta, because he narrated this one a long time ago. I did see some other stories, some other narrators who actually narrated this story, and this story, honestly, it's a pretty good concept, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the fact of the motor oil going missing, and this Jeremy guy acting all suspicious and all, it's a pretty interesting concept, because you never know what can happen during night shift. So I don't know if this is all happening as paranormal, or there's a spirit going around posing as Jeremy or something. I don't really know, to be honest, because this honestly gives us a lot of, it gives us some, kind of like, questions as to what happened. But like I said, I don't really know for a full-on fact, because it didn't really go into too much detail, but it gives us some hints as to what actually happened. I mean, the house had been burned down since 1993. I could see that being believable. So that does make sense as to why this Jeremy guy was acting weird, and what happened with the motor oil going missing, and the customers keep coming in almost every hour, and the loop of it on tapes. I mean, it's obvious that maybe the reason why the loops of security footage has been played is, I believe it's because whoever was stealing the motor oil, they want to do that just so they can hide any evidence. I mean, that's a pretty much a good theory I came up with, but everybody has their own theories, so if you want to let me know what they are in the comments below, feel free to do so. Anyways, I guess with that being said, and that being the case, I'm going to sit here and say the grammar of this story is really good. I was able to read this story. It was flat out amazing. I definitely have to say, PowerHawkMash, if you're watching this video, I want to say you did a good job with this story. This was honestly a really fun story. I still found it to be pretty awesome. So with that being the case, and that being said, the grammar was good. Sentence structuring was well done. Paragraph structuring was good too. And I gotta say, it's a really interesting concept, and I love this story. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good story. I really found it to be really nice. I do honestly find a lot of enjoyability of this. So, with that being the case and that being said, I'm going to sit here and say right now that this is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is just simply my own personal thoughts. I'm going to give this story a 10 out of 10. While it's a good story, I do find the concept to be really amazing, and I do find it to be believable too, but I also really like the fact that, Mr. Creepypasta narrated this story, and that's how I remember this story was from Mr. Creepypasta. I think I listened to that narration back in 2018 or something, but it's been a long time because I could definitely say it's a really good story. It's awesome. I recommend you guys check this story out if you haven't. So, it's on the regular Creepypasta wiki, but it's labeled under Reddit pasta, so I'm assuming this was on Reddit at one point. I don't know if it still is, but like I said, I read this from the Creepypasta wiki. So anyways, with that being said and that being the case, what did you personally guys think of this Creepypasta? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're brand new here to this channel, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. Oh, pardon me about that. I'm having a bit of hiccups. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.